Steve Parker back with another edition of Henry TV. Have you had an opportunity to go back and look at some of the previous episodes? It's a good way to kind of look at this man underneath the magnifying glass. And if he's willing to do a TV show here on a regular basis, I don't think he's got anything to hide. If he does, we'll find out. He's Unite Rocky Hill. He's Henry
Vassell.
Vassell. Like, you say that everybody does that, right?
It doesn't really matter. The name, Henry Vassell, pronounce it any way you want. On election day, just do the right thing.
All these episodes, you think I'd finally get it right? Nah, but at least I know I'm Steve. Hey, just for people who haven't had a chance to maybe catch some of our other episodes, give us a little bit of your background, where you grew up, how you ended up here in Rocky Hill. If I just a brief idea of your background.
I'm from Wethersfield originally, moved to Rocky Hill some 25 years ago, so lifelong Connecticut resident.
Yep.
You know, Rocky Hill's a great town, just like Wethersfield. Small town, bedroom community. Rocky Hill has some great features, though. I mean, we have the Rocky Hill Ferry, you know, we have the meadows, we have great parks.
Yep.
There's a lot of good stuff about Rocky Hill, so why not Rocky Hill is my question.
Yeah, well, get real, Henry. The problem that I look at right now is what I saw on television the other night. I see a guy breaking into cars. I see people getting into cars in people's driveways. I mean, what can you do if you become mayor? What are you going to do to try to, you know, sometimes we look like we don't have our act together. What do you think?
Well, you know, Rocky Hill has some issues with car break-ins, with vandalism, with people rummaging through cars. Another reason I didn't vote for the last budget, because the police chief requested another officer.
Yep.
And they decided not to fund it. The town council did, so I voted against the budget. And I don't know that one officer could have made a difference. Could one officer? I don't know. But you know what? Now we'll never know. And people say, well, you know, it was one more officer, we saved some money. But if you were one of the people that had their car stolen, I'm sure it was important to you.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, that's real, what's happening right now. And, I mean, there's a lot of good things, but you know what it is? It's like, you know, nobody calls in last night and tells you how great the steak was. It's that one piece of meat that they're going to, you know, that's the stuff they're, but that's a whole other thing with me. Look at the Silestine Highway. 25 years you've been here. We got more growth out there. We've got more businesses, some great restaurants. I know myself. You know what it's like trying to get on the 91 if you're coming down from Rocky Hill and you got to get on the 91, especially when you're trying to go back up, you know, to 91 South. What are you going to do to change the traffic?
Well, you know, we need to work with the state and we need to work closely. I mean, take West Street, for instance. There's an entrance to 91, exit 23. You have to cross traffic in both directions to get on the on-ramps. When do you see that anywhere? There's usually a clover leaf. Traffic is always continuously moving to get on a highway. Here in Rocky Hill, you have to cross traffic, so the stoplights create for a lot of congestion. As I told you before, as a volunteer firefighter, I see a lot of car accidents, you know, and it's tough because you know the solution and you know the answer, but there has to be somebody at the state who's going to listen to you. But the congestion, I mean, it can actually be alleviated by two ways. We do have a study that talks about ways to alleviate it, but any future businesses that come to town, if we can have one driveway to service 3 or 4 businesses instead of a driveway every 20 feet on both the Silestine Highway and Route 3, that would help with a lot of the traffic problems and keep the flow going a little better.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the way the schools are and the way the schools that work with maybe like with the police. Do you have, from a security standpoint in the schools, do you have police officers in your schools? You know, I mean, we've heard some horrific things happening in school systems. What are we doing to stay safe and keep our children safe when they go to school?
Yeah, before I became mayor, there were no police officers in schools. There were 0 in Rocky Hill, and that was a little over a year after Sandy Hook. And there was just an unwillingness of Rocky Hill administration at that time to do anything. And that's one of the reasons I ran 4 years ago. So we immediately funded 2 school resource officers specifically for the schools. And then I also had another officer and a half that would go around to the schools and assist those officers. And it worked out well. It actually became more than a school resource officer duty because they started bonding with the kids. And when they bond with the kids tell them things, and now they have information. But they also dealt with families, and there's a lot of children out there who have a tough family life for whatever reason. And you know, whether it's one parent or the other, an aunt, an uncle, whatever it may be, they talk to the police officers, and you know, we're getting to solutions a lot quicker. And it's good, because you only have one shot at a good education, so you got to get it right the first time.
All right. I mean, what else can you say? This is Henry Talk. This is the man, Henry. Unite Rocky Hill.
My name is Henry Vassell. I'm running for mayor of Rocky Hill, and I approved this message.